Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through all the noise, dig into the research, and basically hand you the best insights, tailored just for you. Today, we're doing a deep dive into nailing that inventory clerk job interview. And look, this isn't just about checking boxes to get any job. It's really about understanding a role that's, well, pretty crucial. And maybe more importantly, how you can show your unique value, often before you even walk in the room. Our mission, as always, is to give you those high-value insights fast so you feel genuinely prepared.
And that's exactly it. The inventory clerk role, it's fundamental. It underpins the efficiency, even the profitability of basically any business that handles physical goods. It demands almost an obsessive level of detail, really sharp organizational skills, and a solid practical grasp of how inventory management actually works. This deep dive, it's your chance to not just say you have these skills, but to strategically show them. We want to help you turn what feels like a huge amount of info into strategies you can actually use.
Okay, so let's unpack that a bit. At its heart, an inventory clerk's job sounds simple enough, right? Manage stock, make sure everything's accounted for. But when you're sitting across from a recruiter, what are they really listening for? What's going on behind the questions they ask?
Yeah, what's interesting there is they're not just checking if you can count. That's the basic level. Recruiters are really trying to assess your ability, your proven ability to keep perfect records. Can you handle discrepancies smoothly when they pop up? Because they will pop up. And are you comfortable using modern inventory software? It's not just about having the skills. It's showing you're an efficient, effective guardian of their assets. That's what they really care about.
That makes total sense. It's about trust and efficiency. Okay, so let's shift gears then. Let's talk about the actual questions you're likely to face, because these aren't just random, are they? Each one's designed to uncover something specific about your skills, your thinking. Right, first up, let's talk personality-based questions. These are really about how you work. Like, how do you handle juggling multiple tasks when things get busy? That sounds like a standard day for an inventory clerk.
Oh, definitely. They're trying to get a feel for your time management, how you prioritize. Imagine they ask you how you'd balance reconciling stock counts, maybe organizing the warehouse and updating inventory records all at the same time. A strong answer doesn't just say, oh, I'd manage. No. It talks about specifics, maybe mentioning digital tools you use for tracking or how you prioritize by, urgency and impact. You need to show you have a system.
A system, right, not just hoping for the best. Okay, so beyond just being efficient, what makes someone really stand out? How do you make yourself unique in their eyes?
Good question. Recruiters are always looking for that edge. Don't just say, I'm detail-oriented. Everyone says that. You need to illustrate it. Maybe you created a specific tracking system in a previous role that actually cut down errors. If you can quantify it, even better, reduced errors by X%. Or maybe you have really strong math skills that help you spot issues faster, connect your unique thing to a clear benefit for them.
And communication. That's got to be huge in this role, right? Especially for stopping mistakes before they happen. How do you ensure your communication is always, clear?
Absolutely vital. Good communication is like the glue for teamwork and preventing errors in inventory. So you could talk about how you keep things clear, maybe through regular, concise team handover notes, or using a shared digital platform so everyone's updated in real time, or maybe it's about how you consistently summarize key info for your managers. It's about being proactive with information.
Thinking about things going wrong, because they sometimes do. Can you give an example of a complex problem you solved in inventory? How did you tackle it?
Yeah, this question's gold for them. It shows your problem-solving chops. A good example might be, say, inventory counts were consistently off. You could describe how you dug deeper. Maybe you analyzed data, talked to the team, and found the root cause, perhaps, poor communication between shifts. Then, crucially, describe the solution. Maybe you implemented a clear shift handover checklist or protocol that basically stopped those errors. It shows you find and fix problems.
I like that. And what about the question, how do your strengths help you overcome weaknesses? That feels a bit more personal.
It does, but it's really about resilience and your ability to adapt and grow. So if you mention a weakness, like maybe sometimes feeling swamped by huge amounts of data, you can then show how a strength, like being really good with technology, helps you manage it. You could explain how you learn to use advanced functions in the inventory software to automate analysis, turning that potential weakness into something you handle efficiently. It shows self-awareness and resourcefulness.
Okay, shifting just a little bit. What about your background, your education, maybe even informal learning? How has that set you up for this kind of role?
Yeah, you need to connect the dots for them. If you have a degree, say in business admin, mention relevant stuff like operations management or supply chain courses. Point out specific things you learned: logistics, accounting principles, data analysis, and briefly explain how that knowledge helps you do the job well, like tracking inventory accurately or understanding cost implications. Make it relevant.
And how do you approach setting goals and actually meeting them, specifically in an inventory job?
This shows you're organized and results-oriented. You could talk about breaking down big goals, like maybe improving inventory turnover, into smaller, manageable steps: daily, weekly, monthly targets.
Hmm.
Mentioning how you use the inventory management system, not just for tracking stock, but also for tracking your progress towards those goals, setting reminders. That shows a really systematic approach.
Okay, now let's get into the really juicy stuff. Digging into your past work experience. How do you respond when they ask about handling really challenging tasks? Those inevitable curveballs.
Right. They want to see how you perform under pressure. You need a specific story here. For instance, maybe there were major inventory discrepancies right before a big audit caused by a software bug. Describe how you quickly figured out the problem, worked with IT, but also started a manual check simultaneously. The key is not just solving it, but also what you learned, maybe the importance of double checking even when the system seems fine.
That's a good structure. What about describing the successful project you managed? Something like an annual count. How do you detail the scope, timeline, budget?
This is your chance to show off project management skills, even within the inventory clerk scope. Use that annual inventory count example. Explain how you planned it. Defining the scope, like which areas needed full physical counts versus cycle counts. Setting a realistic timeline, breaking tasks down. Managing resources, maybe temporary staff or scanners, efficiently to stay on budget. And the result: minimal discrepancies, a smooth audit. Show you can manage a process start to finish.
And teamwork is essential, but sometimes conflicts happen. How do you talk about resolving disagreements within the team?
Yeah, this tests your people skills and ability to keep things positive. You could use an example like a disagreement with a coworker over why stock numbers didn't match. Explain how you handled it. Not blaming, but addressing it directly, calmly looking at the data together. Maybe you found the error together, corrected it, and the key takeaway was reinforcing the need for clear communication or double-checking each other's entries. Turn conflict into collaboration.
What about showing leadership or initiative? When have you stepped up or made a key decision?
Recruiters love seeing initiative, even if you weren't formally in charge. Think about a time you were maybe short-staffed and a huge, unexpected delivery arrived. Describe how you didn't just wait for instructions, but took charge, organized the available team members, maybe delegated tasks smartly, and made quick decisions on how to prioritize the unloading and checking to avoid chaos. That's leadership in action.
Inventory isn't static. New products, new systems. How do you show you adapt quickly to changes?
Adaptability is huge. You need an example. Maybe the company suddenly switched to a brand new inventory management software. You could explain how you didn't just learn it quickly yourself, but you actively helped colleagues who were struggling. Maybe created a simple cheat sheet or offered tips. That shows you're not just adaptable, but a team player during change.
Okay, last one for this section, just as straightforward. Tell us about a time you worked effectively in a team.
All right, focus on collaboration here. Maybe talk about a big task like a year-end audit. Explain how the team divided the work logically, how you coordinated your sections, maybe helped each other out when one area was finished early. The result: you completed the audit accurately and perhaps even ahead of schedule because you worked together so well. Highlight the synergy.
All right, let's focus now on work ethic. They'll want to know about problems you've spotted and fixed in inventory processes. What are they looking for here?
Initiative again, and that continuous improvement mindset. They want people who don't just do the job, but make it better. You could mention noticing, say, frequent small errors in stock counts for certain items. Describe how you investigated, found a pattern, maybe related to how they were checked in or out. Then explain the solution you proposed and helped implement maybe clearer labeling or a two-person check system for high-value items and how that improved accuracy. Show you solved a real problem.
And the juggling act, again, multiple tasks, tight deadlines. How do you demonstrate you handle that pressure effectively?
It's about showing you have a method, a system, not just that you work fast. Describe how you prioritize, maybe using a matrix of urgency versus importance. Explain how you create a schedule, maybe using Outlook calendar, a planner, or even features in the inventory software itself. It's about showing you're organized and methodical under pressure.
Okay, handling negative feedback or maybe a customer complaint.
Yeah.
How do you approach answering that one?
Professionalism and learning are key here. They want to see you can take criticism constructively. Use a specific example. Maybe a customer was upset because an item showed as in stock online but wasn't actually available. Describe how you handled it. Apologize sincerely. Immediately investigated why the discrepancy occurred, maybe offered an alternative or update on restocking. And crucially, what did you learn or what process did you suggest changing to prevent it from happening again? Show growth from the experience.
Safety is obviously critical in any warehouse or stockroom. When have you identified a safety issue and done something about it?
Absolutely paramount. You need a concrete example. Maybe you noticed boxes stacked too high or heavy items placed precariously on top shelves exceeding weight limits. Describe how you reported it promptly to your supervisor, but also maybe suggested a simple, practical solution like rearranging stuff to put heavier items lower down. It shows you're observant and proactive about safety.
And what about dealing with difficult people? Maybe a challenging client or vendor.
This tests your patience, your empathy, your problem-solving skills. Think of a time a client was perhaps unhappy with the way inventory reports were presented or the frequency. Explain how you first listened carefully to understand their frustration, showed empathy, and then worked with your team to see if you could adjust the process or report format to better meet their needs, turning a complaint into an improved service.
Good stuff. Okay, let's talk industry knowledge. How do you show you stay current with inventory management best practices?
Right, they want to see you're engaged in your field, not just punching a clock. You can mention things like reading industry blogs or magazines, maybe participating in online forums or LinkedIn groups focused on logistics or supply chain. If you've attended any webinars, workshops, or conferences, definitely mention those too. It shows you're committed to learning.
And have you ever trained anyone, like interns or new hires, in an inventory role?
If you have, definitely highlight it. It shows leadership potential and that you know the role well enough to teach it. Describe how you train them. Maybe you developed a small training plan, walked them through the inventory system step by step, showed them how to handle discrepancies, supervise their first few cycle counts. Be specific about the process.
It's so important to remember this interview isn't just them assessing you, it's also your chance to assess them. It really is a two-way street.
Absolutely. And part of that is knowing what questions are off limits. You need to be prepared for inappropriate or even illegal questions. Things about your marital status, kids, sexual orientation, political leanings, health issues, religion. These are generally no-go areas because they can lead to discrimination. Have a polite deflection ready. Something like, I prefer to keep my personal life separate from work, or I'm confident my health doesn't affect my ability to perform this job's duties. For the salary question, what did you make before? Try to pivot. I'm really focused on the opportunity here and the salary range for this role. I'm confident we can find a figure that's fair based on my skills and the value I'd bring. Keep it professional, polite, but firm.
Okay, good advice on what not to answer. So what questions should you, the candidate, be asking? Because asking smart questions shows you're engaged and serious.
Definitely. Asking good questions does two things. Shows your interest and helps you decide if it's the right place. Here are 5 key ones. First, could you describe what a typical day or week looks like in this role? Gets you beyond the job description. Second, what specific inventory management systems or software does the team use most? Shows technical interest and helps you gauge fit. Maybe mention ones you know. Third, what are the most important skills and qualities you find make someone successful in the specific inventory clerk position here? Helps you understand their real priorities. Fourth, how does the company typically handle inventory discrepancies? What's the usual process for investigating and resolving them? Shows you care about accuracy and process. And fifth, could you tell me a bit about the team I'd be working with? How does the team usually collaborate? Gives you a feel for the culture and dynamics.
Those are excellent questions. Okay, so beyond the actual questions and answers, let's zoom out a bit. What about the overall package, the whole preparation strategy?
Right. It starts way before the interview with your CV. Your CV is your marketing tool, your first impression. Tailor it. Make sure it hits all the key sections. Personal info, a strong professional summary like detail-oriented inventory clerk, 5+ years experience improving accuracy. Quantify achievements in your work experience section. Reduce stock discrepancies by X%. List relevant hard and soft skills, inventory software, mention names of POS, data entry, cycle counting, problem solving, add education, any certifications and references available. Make every word count towards this job. Now, what if you don't have direct experience as an inventory clerk? It's not a deal breaker. First, really understand the role and research the company's business. What products do they handle? Then, highlight your transferable skills. Are you super organized? Great attention to detail from another job. Good with computers. Mention relevant school projects or coursework. Learn the basic inventory jargon turnover, cycle counts, fuel FIFO. Maybe even do a quick online tutorial for common software like QuickBooks inventory module or just Excel for inventory. Emphasize you're a fast learner. Show real enthusiasm, be honest about what you don't know yet, and definitely ask good questions.
That's really encouraging for newcomers. So we talked about skills earlier, but let's revisit that balance, soft skills versus hard skills. What's the essential mix recruiters want?
It's absolutely a mix. For soft skills, detail-oriented is non-negotiable. That prevents errors. Organizational skills, finding things fast, keeping records straight, communication clear updates, explaining issues, problem solving, figuring out why numbers are off. For hard skills, a solid grasp of inventory management concepts, accurate and efficient data entry. Good spreadsheet skills usually excel for tracking, maybe simple analysis, and knowledge of inventory software, even if it's just the basics. It shows you understand the tools.
And first impressions visually. What should you actually wear to an inventory clerk interview?
Generally aim for business casual, maybe leaning slightly more towards business. A clean, ironed button-down shirt or a smart blouse with dress pants or a consumative skirt. Stick to safer, muted colors, blues, grays, black, khaki. Keep any jewelry minimal. Fit is important. Make sure clothes aren't too tight or too baggy. Signals care. Wear clean, closed-toe shoes. Comfort matters if they might give you a quick tour. Good grooming is essential. Neat hair, tidy appearance. And yeah, go easy on perfumes or colognes. Professional and polished is the goal.
Okay, fingers crossed you get called back. What about navigating that second interview? How is it different?
A second interview usually means they're serious. It'll likely be more in-depth, maybe with different people, potential team members or senior managers, so you need to prep even harder. Really dig into their specific inventory processes if you can find out more. Brush up on technical details relevant to their industry or products. Anticipate more behavioral questions. Tell me about a time when. Definitely review your notes from the first interview. What did they seem interested in? What could you clarify? And prepare new, more insightful questions based on what you learned initially. And to really boost your chances in that second round, think about what extra strengths you can emphasize. Show an even deeper grasp of inventory systems, maybe ask about integration with other departments. Hammer home your organizational skills with more complex examples. Reiterate your detail orientation. Talk about communication in terms of reporting or collaborating with other teams. Stress your adaptability, especially if they mentioned upcoming changes. Highlight problem solving with more significant examples. Mention your reliability. Maybe frame your career goals within their company. Show you're willing to learn and take on responsibility. Prove you're a team player. Convey real passion for efficiency and accuracy in this field. If you have metrics, use them. Show you're committed to getting better. That's how you seal the deal.
Wow, that was incredibly thorough. A complete toolkit for tackling the inventory clerk interview. We've really covered the whole journey, from understanding what recruiters really want to crafting your CV, handling tricky questions, asking your own smart questions, and even acing that second round. Honestly, preparing this way for any role gives you skills that go way beyond just landing this specific job. It's about professional development, really.
Exactly. And maybe the final thought to leave everyone with is this. If we connect this level of detailed, focused preparation to the bigger picture, imagine applying this kind of strategic thinking, this multifaceted approach to other areas of your life, other goals you have. How could that not just lead to specific successes, but maybe fundamentally shift how you approach growth and spot opportunities everywhere? It really could change the whole game for you.